Good afternoon, everyone. Here we are continuing with the interesting technical sessions, day 2 of the FIWARE Fest. And right now, this session is going to elaborate about digital twins, the core concept we have been elaborating about quite a bit during all yesterday, but also this morning. But this session is going to be mostly focused on concrete use cases, and we have also quite interested panelists who will join us in a fireside chat with Dan Isaacs from Digital Twin Consortium. But let's start the session. First, let me introduce the first 2 speakers that we will have on stage. Starting with Liliana Baptista. Liliana Baptista is a founder and a manager in Dalma Robotics. Dalma Robotics was founded in 2019 and aims to develop autonomous mobile robots. That's the focus of the primary goal of the company. They intend to offer autonomous solutions that enable their customers to concentrate their efforts to the most added value task, because Dalma robots do the rest. Second with us, it will be Flavio Cirillo from NEC. He's a research scientist at NEC Laboratories, Europe, in Heidelberg, Germany. His research topics include IoT analytics platforms, focus mostly in the sector of the smart cities, and in that respect, he has been working on quite relevant projects in the Europe area, such as Synchronicity or Fiesta IoT, and of course, in activities connected to FIWARE. I will introduce Dan when he joins us in the Fireside Chat, but now let's start with Liliana's presentation about Dalma Robotics and the use cases they have implemented using FIWARE and supporting digital twins. Liliana, whenever you are ready, feel free to start.
Okay, let's unmute myself. Let me share the screen also. Okay. I think you can see it, right?
Yes, we see that perfectly.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Liliana, and I'm co-founder and manager at Dalma Robotics. Today, I will present you the details of the implementation of FITS project. FITS stands for FIWARE Enabled Autonomous Transport System, and as the name says, we used FIWARE to develop a smart intralogistics service for a manufacturing company. Transportation of raw material between the warehouse and several workstations in the production process lines was being done manually and with no schedule nor particular organization. Additionally, collaborators need to leave their workstations to pick up the material they need, thus performing tasks with no added value for the company. Therefore, Jurit challenged Dalma to automate these transportation tasks. And that is how FITS was born. Dalma is a robotics company which develops autonomous mobile robots, and Jurit is a metal parts manufacturing company. Both are Portuguese entities. At the beginning of the day, the production process supervisor would get a listing paper of the work orders for the day and would verbally communicate which work orders each workstation operator would need to complete. With that information, each operator will get the necessary information regarding the material and respective quantities they would need to get from the warehouse. Each operator would need to leave their own workstations to go to the warehouse with a trolley and pick up the raw material containers they need. Many times this implied an increase of people working back and forth to the warehouse, creating an unnecessary traffic in the shop floor and in the warehouse, where the operator will need to wait for his or her turn. Furthermore, to avoid going to the warehouse several times, the operator would gather several needs, picking up raw material containers for several work orders at the same time. And this could lead to the use of raw material for a specific work order, since the operator could have different containers stocked at their workstation's side. This workflow has a direct impact on the semi-final product's manufacturing and also an indirect impact on the following steps until the final products are finished. Fortunately, although the manufacturing process was not as efficient as we would like, Jurit was already working with an ERP system, in this case SAP, and an automatic warehouse. And so, together with Dalma's autonomous mobile robot, we would have the necessary equipment to make this whole raw material transportation automatic and autonomous. To be noted that the implementation of FITS did not imply the exclusion of any collaborator. The operator would just no longer need to abandon their workstations and so they could focus on their main task. In summary, FITS solution not only enabled the elimination of communication errors, workstations downtime, and use of improper material, as it also enabled the decrease of traffic in the shop floor and warehouse, which also means less interaction between people, and it allows the manufacturing process synchronization with the ERP system and the automatic warehouse. The real-time visualization and management of all transportation tasks, and also the log of all automatic actions that enables the calculation of relevant KPIs. FITS project is composed of 4 components: coffee, latte, FIWARE, and FIROS. All these are FIWARE-ready components and are the green boxes in the image. Coffee, latte, and FIWARE were fully developed by Dalma. FIROS was an already existing component, but Dalma had to modify it in order to serve the project's purposes. Besides the FIWARE-ready components developed for the FITS project, Dalma and Jurit had to develop some extra APIs to enable third-party systems to communicate with the FIWARE components. Those are the orange boxes in the image. Also, different user interfaces for the process control and monitoring were specifically developed. One of the advantages of having physical robotic systems in a manufacturing company is the possibility to make them to digitally communicate with each other, and so automate the manufacturing process. The digitization process allows any company to have more autonomy and to be more competitive within their industry market segment. The challenge for FITS project was to gather an ERP system, an automatic warehouse, and an autonomous mobile robot under the same standard language. Therefore, as you can see in this picture, all web-based interfaces, cloud-based components, and cyber-physical systems are connected to the Orion context broker through the NGSI standardized communication protocol. So, how does it work in practice? SAP publishes a list of work orders on the Orion using Coffee instance. That list is subscribed by all other FIWARE components. The smart agent, Latte, controls all information and publishes the needed actions. Then, both AMR and warehouse, through FIROS and FIWARE respectively, receive and perform the actions. From the manufacturing company's point of view, all the digital connection is invisible, but the actions are seen in person by visually checking the robot going back and forth between the warehouse and the workstations. Thus, for them, FITS is a smart robotics-based intralogistics service where they need to provide some inputs to get an autonomous material delivery from point A to point B, with simple interfaces to monitor and control the whole process. Coffee and FIWARE together with the already existing FIROS are the main components for the smart robotics-based intralogistics service. Latte is the smart agent, the component that manages all interactions among all systems and triggers the necessary actions. These instances can be used independently, together, and/or combined with third-party components. The whole system can be applied to any market segment that needs an intelligent and autonomous way to transport goods among different points. Now you might be questioning how this can be seen as a digital twin system. So here you go. The Orion Context Broker is where all data from the manufacturing shop floor is stored. Coffee is a virtual representation of SAP. FIWARE is the virtual representation of the warehouse, and FIROS is the virtual representation of the robot. Data is synchronized on the Orion, and based on that information, actions are triggered by the smart agent, Latte. In the end, we have a digital twin system of the real production environment. Now, to finalize this presentation, I would like to share with you the feeds promoting video.
Liliana, sorry. I think we do not have time, unfortunately, for the video because otherwise we will not have time for the Fireside Chat. Would you please try to finalize the just the present? Okay, was okay.
No, this was, yeah. The video has.
All right, so then let's play the video if we have time at the end. If you don't mind. Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much. Please feel free to contact us to discuss any matter, and thank you for all your time.
All right, thank you very much. Now, Flavio, is your turn. Whenever you are ready, please share the screen.
Yes, I'm doing it. Do you see the screen?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Okay. So, good morning. I'm going to good afternoon, actually, to speak about urban digital twin, and let's start with the use case on a smart city, as it's my scenario of research usually. So, generally, in a smart city, we have different stakeholders that hold different kind of data. Like there are traffic monitoring camera or like air quality sensors that are handled by the city council for inferring what's happening in the city district. Or like there is bus information regarding the current location of buses, or like the carness level in the bus that is handled by public transportation, and also private application of app on your smartphone that a cyclist might use for having information about the traffic situation. So when we go to the digital twin world, moving from the real world to the digital twin, we have then the representation of those things in the real world with attributes connected to it. And this is what happened in silos that is actually commonly happening in every smart cities in the world. But then digital twin is also interaction between them. So, for example, the information of a bus tracking can be used for inferring the traffic status in a city district. And then this information can be then returned back to the bus tracking to have, for example, an estimated time arrival of the bus based on the traffic situation in the city, so that like we can see interaction here with the twins and also prediction of future situation by these twins. So if we move forwards, then we can also have much more complex interaction between twins for having also recommended action based on prediction of future situations, and having, for example, like an insight bike path recommendation, where the bike where a cyclist can get a recommendation on where to go to avoid traffic or to avoid pollution and so on and so forth. And this information needs to be so, and for having this recommendation, it's important to have information about air quality prediction, traffic prediction, and so on and so forth. Of course, with this information, we can have also some other use case about application or running on it, like urban planning, so like supporting human decisions on planning urban environment. On what we've seen here, we have several challenges that to be addressed. First of all, like urban digital twins are distributed across a federation of systems, and those systems are handled by different organizations, and the digital twins needs to work seamlessly between this fragmentation of systems. Further, there is a high heterogeneity between formats and models. For example, there are camera images or 3D model of the city and signal of sensors that are very different in terms of format, but also models like how data is modeled depends on the engineering that attach the device to the system. There is a very dynamic characteristic of digital twins because, like, for example, if you imagine a car moving in a city, then there are several cars entering and exiting the city, so there is a very dynamic situation of digital twin. Further, there is a very big complexity in terms of programming for who is integrating sensors or devices with the digital twin realms, or also like who is developing services. So to handle all this the dynamicity of digital twin, and also for established data flows between services, and also in terms of privacy and data usage control. As we have seen, like GDPR and data licenses must be handled because of since there are different organizations handling the data. So the model that we foresee is like what we've shown here in the slide, where we have a physical twin on the bottom that actually is the physical object in the real world, and data is captured, and then there is a data twin, so the simple representation of the data. But on top of this, we can run services for having a kind of simulation of what might happen is depending on some conditions. So what if, so simulate what happened on this twin. And then we can have a monitoring of the twin and trying to predict and react if for some situation happening. Further, we can have like a kind of prediction of the twin, like having some kind of model of how the twins should look like. For example, like if you want to build a new district in the city, so we might have a 3D model on how the city should look like. And then we can have like a continuous monitoring of what if like what we are building is matching what we have planned and designed. This urban digital twin as model it needs to be handled by an infrastructure, and here is shown how this can be. So like on the bottom we have the physical twin that needs to be handled by information source and actuators, and then we have an information management that handles these, like a context broker that handle the data on the data level. And then we have a top level of services that simulate, plan, and analyze data. With FIWARE, this is translated with the components that we see here on the right, like with IoT agents getting data from the sensors, context brokers, the different version that we have for information management, and the different analysis software to handle services. So the challenges can be then tackled with the NGSIRD broker for handling the distribution among federation, the dynamic realm of digital twins, and the heterogeneity of data because of like federation by design and referencing data to a URL. Then like smart models, it's a way to address the heterogeneity of data models And this is like a very diamond from FIWARE on defining those models. Of course, like integrating data, it's not a complex, an easy task. And then like some automatic means for extracting data and matching with these common smart models, it's needed. So like a kind of knowledge extraction of digital twin. And we are doing research on this for having an automatic extraction of data towards the data models. Then in terms of programming complexity, forkflow is another component that helps to handle this by decoupling the service developing to the deployment plan, so that automatically services are run in the system and attached and traffic and data flow is established between services. And finally, data usage control is something that that in the research side, FIWARE is very active. For example, like we have developed a way to automatically decouple the usage policy to the developing of services that we call intent keeper, and for preemptive and proactively orchestrate services. Together with another research from UPM about reactively enforce policies on service systems. So, I would thank you for your time, and I'm open for questions for the Fireside Chat later.
Thank you, Flavio. Quite an interesting perspective and the vision. Two very different visions with usage of digital twins and in areas so different, like in manufacturing, logistics, or urban cities. But however, both rely on common technologies, common standards, like the ones wrote by FIWARE. Okay, let's move to the Fireside Chat, and this is now my pleasure to introduce you, Dan Isaac, who has joined us to this session. Dan, I guess you are with us. Can you confirm? I think so, yeah. I saw you before. Yeah, you are muted. Just try to unmute. Okay. So Dan is business development and management executive with a quite long experience, more than 20 years of experience in several semiconductor companies, and now a chief technology officer at the Digital Twin Consortium, an international body that is working towards adoption of digital twins in multiple industries. And I think a body that is experienced a quite relevant growth in terms of membership and raising a lot of awareness. And my first question, and here we are good in a panel with the two previous speakers and Dan, but my first question to Dan is, and thank you for coming here, because we know you are very busy. You are in the middle this week of the Digital Twin Consortium members meeting that is running, and it's a really thank you for finding the time to come and stay with us. The DTC and FIWARE Foundation signed a collaboration agreement at the beginning of this year. May you elaborate a bit on that and how it has been developing so far from your perspective? What is your first impressions when you got in contact with the FIWARE ecosystem? There was a workshop we had the other day during the DTC members. What is a bit the things that you foreseen maybe coming out of this collaboration?
Yeah, and first off, thank you for inviting me to this, Juanjo. This is really great to be able to hear some of these fantastic use cases, examples, implementations, and really showing how digital twins are just being adopted across a variety of areas, market spaces, and continues to grow significantly. Yeah, so as you said, when we first started our collaboration, understanding and recognizing where FIWARE was and the extent to the different areas that it is being used is extremely impressive. And we see great opportunities for collaboration and continued collaboration. And one of those areas is based on what we've just recently launched, which is our open source collaboration community. And part of that, I'm sure we'll be discussing a little bit later, but part of that in terms of some of the projects that have been brought forth by yourself and others, looking at it from both the data modeling as well as some of the other examples that we have and some of the use cases we're hearing today representing these digital twin and enabling technologies. So I think that's a great opportunity and will continue to be really driving this collaboration between our organizations. As far as yesterday, again, it was almost a mini workshop within a workshop. So that was great to hear some excellent use cases, including the how you have a digital twin of the cows and cattle, and where that potential is. I mean, and that just serves to really exemplify how digital twins are being adopted across just a whole myriad of areas. And the way the consortium is organized is structured around these different domains. And we see that continuing to drive and the adoption continuing growing. So thank you for that.
Yeah, well, just let me say that we are also sharing this excitement about the potential of this collaboration. And that's the reason why we are trying to be very active within Digital Twin Consortium and participation. Sometimes it's difficult because of the time zones and so on, but overall doing pretty well, and I think it's a lot what may come out of that collaboration. A question to Flavio, because we are everyone is speaking now. Digital twins is kind of a very hot topic and nowadays, but there is still, I think, a lack of the standards. What do you think about that? And what are, from your perspective, the kind of minimum standards that are needed for these digital twins to really, move forward and enabling the development of applications that can be portable and interoperable?
Yeah, so I mean, it's also shown in the use case, like digital twin is realm is also very dynamic and including different stakeholders and silos and different systems. So it is important to decouple the service developer to the service consumer. For having this, it's important to have like a single API for accessing digital twin and also to having digital twin interacting with each other. So I mean, like for this, FIWARE and with NGS-IRD is bringing a very add-on on the digital twin implementation, since like with the linked data and linking the digital twin with each other, and then like having this kind of graph of information linked with at high level that can be used by the services that can be independent to each other is very fundamental. So like we need to go really at this level of handling digital twins. So with the context broker, for example, that will be also on each side federated by design, and all this federation is covered by the API that is hiding the complexity. And so like the NGS-IRD with these will help a lot, but itself NGS-IRD, it's like a container, but then the data in it needs also to be modeled in such a way that it's understood by the services that are, as said, developed by different let's say system domains, like for example, like the bus transportation, it can be like some application on a smartphone. So also in that case, the data should follow the same data model. And as I said, smart data models that is handled by ATM Forum together with FIWARE is really important to be used. Of course, like it's not easy to have data models already available on and integrated with the data that is already available from different silos. So it is important to have some integration way to have data models, so to have data available towards these high-level API like the NGSILV and modeled with smart data models. So like the IoT agents and some automatic integration, it's also fundamental to have this. So I think what FIWARE is offering is a good path towards interoperability of digital twins.
Okay, thank you. Dan, you mentioned before this open collaboration and activities within Digital Twin Consortium. So could you elaborate more about that and what is about the kind of initiatives you are foreseeing and what's going on in that area? And could you elaborate a bit more?
Yeah, sure. We actually just recently launched the what we're calling our open source collaboration community, which is actually open to communities of like mind to bring in their types of projects that they would like to see around digital twin from an open source perspective. They can go through on our website. You can see the digitaltwinconsortium.org. You can see an area there focused on the open source, and you can actually go ahead and apply for having your project reviewed by our technical advisory committee. And they're going to look in terms of alignment with the objectives, understand the different natures. There's actually documentation there that is the criteria that's used to assess the projects, to make it very easy to understand what's acceptable for open source on the community, and then what areas to elaborate on for that perspective. There's documentation in terms of the guidelines for completing the application as well. Make it very straightforward, very easy to understand the types of open source projects we're looking for and how we can move forward in those areas aligned with, furthering the adoption and the growth of digital twin throughout the like-minded communities. So that's one initiative. We have several initiatives. Last year was really about establishing the structure of the Digital Twin Consortium, and really we focused on key priorities in terms of being able to make sure everybody within the consortium is in alignment in terms of having a common vernacular and understanding. You want to speak the same language throughout these areas. We are a global consortium with over 30 countries represented by the consortium. And we've created these initiatives to really help to drive that collaboration and bring that forward throughout the consortium. We started with about 50 members. We just, end of May was our first year anniversary. We started with about 50 members and 4 founders. We now have increased to over 300 members. And I think that's really a testament to the adoption and where digital twin and digital twin enabling technology is headed. It really is a key enabler for digital transformation. And that's being recognized across the board. And with some of the examples we've heard from both Flavio and Liliana, I mean, you see these coming through and the advantages and the benefits that are recognized. So I think that really going forward, we want to really provide these types of initiatives, which include a digital marketplace. So all of our members talking about what their services, what their thought leadership, their innovations, their product offerings, that's all going to be included within the consortium on the external site to help to allow potential customers and even potential members to come in and really see and recognize what's happening within the consortium. I think that that's another testament, again, to the openness of the way the consortium is structured. It's around the different domains, around the different vertical markets where we're seeing this transformative business outcome being recognized again, throughout all the different types of industries. And we continue to grow that in terms of new working groups and new additions that will help to drive that awareness and adoption. The consortium is member driven. So it really is all about the collaboration, the opportunities. There really is no other consortium out there around digital twin enabling technology that provides this level of depth, breadth, and expertise in these areas. We have both academia, we have government, we have users, and we have developers. And it's a great opportunity to come in and really drive what you're doing, what your involvement is around digital twins and enabling technology, and bring that out, as I said, into the market space, and really help to drive that adoption and demonstrate the thought leadership. And as part of that, to answer your question, we have another initiative around really driving use cases and case studies, implementations, where we have this platform, a framework we call really our value innovation platform, where that is really all about demonstrating the transformative value, the significant change in business outcomes using digital twin and enabling technology, as well as highlighting the innovation of our members and the thought leadership that we have throughout the consortium. So there's several other initiatives that we have around that, and you'll continue to hear more and more about that over the coming year. So we're really excited about it, and certainly with collaboration and working together with organizations such as FIWARE, we see that just continuing to grow.
Mm-hmm. Many thanks. Open source is, as we see, at the DNA of Digital Twin Consortium. And the question to Liliana is, open source is about democratizing opportunities somehow, and this is, I guess, something particularly relevant for a startup like yours. Can you elaborate on your experience in that sense with open source technologies like FIWARE, and how that is critical in your future plans?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the word democratizing, because that is one of Dalma's keywords as well. We are on the quest to democratize AMRs, autonomous mobile robots, and to bring them to everyone around the globe, so that the smaller companies can compete on the same playing field as the big guys. And so we can see this democratization from 2 points of view. As a startup, as you said, it's very important to have access to open source software, because starting a company, at least for us on our field of robotics specifically, it's very difficult and time consuming, start everything from scratch. And so startups usually begin with very low budget and people. And so all we can do to accelerate our development process and reach revenues is crucial. Dalma itself is based on some amazing open source projects in the field of robotics. And so on the other hand, and more from a customer's perspective, it's also much easier to implement technology and products from different tech suppliers if there are open source components available for us to adapt our product to different realities and standardize communication among different systems and equipment within the same company. So this was actually our first experience with FIWARE. For us, it was great to meet FIWARE community and really see that there is a true commitment to create a network of technological solutions to standardize the way through which we interact with data, which, as we know, is more and more important and valuable each day. And so in our particular case, FIWARE helped us to build our solution and to look at it in terms of information and its flow between different parts of the system. In this way, not only it was crucial to design the system, but also to be able to have new components without breaking it, and making our solution a very flexible and scalable one. Therefore, to be part of the people that can contribute for this network and that can contribute specifically for the European SMEs to be more competitive in their market segment by having access to the same technological level as the bigger companies, it is actually what drives us to keep using and developing open source software. So we really see a future in this kind of initiatives, and for sure we will continue using open source software and contributing as well for the platform.
Okay, thank you. Just very interesting perspective. It's always very important to listen startups, the SMEs that understand what their problems and how, what is the kind of solutions, and not only technology, but also in terms of ecosystem and business development support that may help to develop their business and their success. So, well, I think we are approaching the end, and so to close this fireside chat, I would like to ask you to make a final statement. What is the kind of message that you would like everyone that is in the audience you want that they bring with them after this session? So we will go first with Liliana, with Flavio, second Liliana, and then we close with you then. Okay, so Flavio, statement, message, strong message to bring to the audience.
Yes, so the message I want to bring to pass to the audience is that in the past years, like 20 years, we had this movement of digitalization of data towards the digital world. But then at this moment, this data and this digitalization is stuck in a point that there is a wall in front of it, and then there is a gate that might open, that is a digital twin that might open this cross collaboration, and that open a lot of new opportunities for business, for services, and for a different era of the digital world. So we can call it a kind of digital twinization of the world. So of course this has many challenges, as I've presented earlier, but I think we are working hard on pass through these challenges, and I hope in 5-10 years we can see this realized.
Thank you, Flavio. Liliana, last thoughts and messages.
Yeah. So I would like to say that as we evolve as human beings by interacting and exchanging experience with each other, I think the same should be done with technology. So if we want to have a healthy and democratized technological evolution, we should share what we develop and the outcomes of it. And so in the end, I encourage all of you to engage with this mindset and contribute to this kind of initiatives.
Thank you, Liliana. Very, motivating words. And then to finalize.
Yeah, I think that really, we've seen with the pandemic, we've seen the digital transformation just been accelerated. Analysts have been saying anywhere from 5 to 10 years, we have now accelerated this whole approach with digital transformation, where before it was a nice to have, we have a plan. Yeah, we're working towards it. And now it's absolutely a must have. And digital twins are the key enabler for that digital transformation. And we're seeing this across the board, broad-based adoption of digital twins across virtually every industry and market space. We've seen some great examples here. Obviously, the many use cases that are coming out where FIWARE is being adopted and represented. So we continue to see that transformational value and impact to these business outcomes being recognized. And the Digital Twin Consortium is driving this awareness and adoption in a very highly collaborative fashion, as represented through our collaboration with FIWARE and other organizations. And we continue to see this, and we really want to continue that growth of the ecosystem and communities of like interest.
Okay, thank you, Dan. That's a very nice summary. Also, bringing the perspective of the collaboration we have built together. I really foreseen and envision that there will be great things coming out of our partnership. And yeah, I think the future is digital twin. So let's move forward. And thank you all the speakers. Thank you all the audience to stay here, listening to us, and happy to continue the conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juanjo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.